People who live deep in the Everglades know exactly what to avoid, and right now they are refusing to go near the water. There are 15 terrifying creatures prowling the swamps that tourists don't know about. Let's look at the worst ones. Number 15, the fire ant. They don't look like much. A small red mound in the grass, barely ankle high. But step on one, and you'll understand why locals watch every single footstep out here. Fire ants swarm in seconds, latching onto skin by the hundreds, and they sting all at once. A burning wave that feels like your leg has been set on fire. Each ant grips with its jaws and stings again and again, never running out of venom. For most people, it's pure agony and a field of blistering welts that last for days. For anyone allergic, a single disturbed mound can trigger a full-body reaction that shuts the airway down before help can arrive. And out here, help is miles of swamp away. Worst of all, their mounds are everywhere, hidden in the grass, along the trails, floating in rafts on the floodwater, right where you'd plant your feet without a second thought. Disturb one colony, and the whole ground seems to come alive and come after you. Number 14, the Argentine tegu. It shouldn't be here at all. The tegu is a massive lizard from South America, released by careless pet owners, and now it's breeding across the Everglades in the thousands. Some grow over 4 feet long, with heavy jaws and claws built for tearing and digging. They are not shy animals. Tegus raid nests, devouring the eggs of alligators, turtles, tortoises, and ground-nesting birds, wiping out entire generations before they ever hatch. Corner one, and it doesn't run. It fights back, thrashing its tail, clawing, and delivering a bite that can crush a finger to the bone. They carry salmonella on their skin and in their mouths. They tolerate cold better than anyone expected, and they're spreading north fast. Nothing native was built to stop them. Locals see them cross the roads at dawn like they own the place. And the frightening truth is, they're slowly starting to. Number 13, the Nile monitor lizard. If the tegu is bad, the Nile monitor is a nightmare. This is Africa's giant lizard, an animal that has no business on this continent. But here it is, thriving in the canals, levees, and mangroves. They reach 5 to 7 feet long, they swim like crocodiles, and they climb walls and trees like oversized cats. A Nile monitor will eat almost anything it can catch or corner. Fish, birds, small mammals, pets, and the young of every native predator in the swamp. Their tail whips like a bullwhip hard enough to break skin, their claws rake deep, and their bite drives filthy bacteria into the wound that can turn it septic within hours. Fast, powerful, and utterly fearless of humans, they've turned stretches of the Everglades into hunting grounds no one planned for, and no one can easily clear. Trappers pull them out one at a time, and for every one they catch, more are hatching in burrows no one has found. Number 12, the spectacled caiman. Most tourists think Florida only has alligators. They're wrong. Hidden in the southern canals lives the spectacled caiman, another escaped exotic, a cousin of the alligator native to Central and South America. It's smaller and faster than a gator and far more high-strung, which somehow makes it more dangerous, not less. A startled caiman lunges without warning, snapping with a mouth crowded with needle-sharp teeth, and it will defend a nest with reckless fury. They lurk in the same shallow, weed-choked water people wade through to fish or launch a kayak, blending perfectly into the floating mats and dark murk. You won't see one until it moves, a sudden boil of water and a flash of teeth. And by then, if it has decided you're too close to its eggs, it's already far too late to back away calmly. Number 11, the feral hog. Weighing up to 300 pounds, armed with curved razor tusks, and mean enough to charge a grown man on sight, the feral hog is one animal that locals genuinely dread meeting on foot. They travel in groups called sounders, they're disturbingly intelligent, and they turn instantly aggressive when cornered or protecting their piglets. A boar's tusks can open a deep, ragged wound in a single upward slash, hooking through muscle, and it won't stop after the first hit. It circles and comes again. They root up the land, foul the water holes other animals drink from, and move through the swamp like a wrecking crew. Out in the tall sawgrass, you often hear the grunting and crashing before you ever see them. And by the time a hog breaks into the open, an angry 300-pound boar can close the gap faster than a person can turn and run. Number 10. The Florida black bear. The Everglades has bears, real ones, up to 400 pounds, and they're closer to the trails and campgrounds than most visitors ever realize. Usually, they want nothing to do with people and melt back into the brush. But a black bear that has learned to link humans with food loses every scrap of its natural caution, and a startled mother with cubs becomes one of the most dangerous animals in the entire swamp. Those front paws can shatter bone with a single swipe, and despite their bulk, a black bear sprints and bursts faster than any human alive and climbs trees to escape or to reach you. They move almost silently through dense cover, appearing and vanishing without a sound. Locals give them a wide, respectful berth for a reason. You never want to find yourself standing between a Florida black bear and whatever it has already decided belongs to it. Number 9. The alligator snapping turtle. It looks like a rock covered in moss, sitting perfectly still on the bottom of the channel. That is exactly the point. The alligator snapping turtle is the largest freshwater turtle in North America, some weighing well over 150 pounds, and it is a living trap. It lies motionless with its jaws wide open, wiggling a small pink lure on the floor of its mouth, and when a curious fish, or a careless hand, drifts close, the beak slams shut with enough force to crack bone clean through. This is not an exaggeration for the camera. That beak can take off part of a hand in a single blink. They bury themselves in the exact shallows and boat ramps where people reach down into the water to grab a line or steady a kayak. The rule out here is simple and absolute. Never reach blindly into the muck. Something ancient may be lying there, waiting for you to try. Number 8. The Florida panther silent, solitary, almost never seen. The Florida panther is the ghost of the Everglades, one of the rarest big cats left on Earth, and a pure ambush predator. It can weigh over 150 pounds, cover 30 feet in a single bound, and take down prey far larger than itself with a bite to the neck. Attacks on people are extraordinarily rare, and that is exactly what unnerves the people who live here. You will never know one is near. A panther can crouch in the palmetto and watch you for long minutes, and you would never feel the eyes locked on your back. It moves without sound, strikes from behind, and is gone before the moment even registers. Out in panther country at dusk, with the light dying and the brush closing in, every snapped twig makes the hair on your neck stand straight up, and it absolutely should. Number 7. The bull shark people assume they're safe the moment they leave the ocean behind. That assumption can be fatal. The bull shark is one of the only sharks on the planet that thrives in freshwater, and it swims miles inland up the rivers and canals that feed the Everglades, right into the same water where families fish, wade, and swim. Aggressive, thickly muscled, and unpredictable, bull sharks are linked to more shallow, close-to-shore encounters than almost any other species. They hunt in murky, tannin-stained water where visibility drops to nothing, so they operate by feel and bite first to find out what they've hit. A big one can top 8 feet and 500 pounds. That splash you make wading across a channel, that struggling fish on your line, to a bull shark cruising the brackish shallows, that is the unmistakable sound of a meal, and it will come to investigate. Number 6. The eastern coral snake small, brightly banded, and easy to mistake for something harmless. The coral snake hides one of the most potent venoms of any snake in North America. Red touches yellow, kill a fellow. That old rhyme exists because people have died getting the colors wrong. Its venom is a powerful neurotoxin that attacks the nervous system directly, and the truly terrifying part is the delay. A victim can feel almost fine for hours, brushing it off as a scratch, while the poison quietly begins shutting down the muscles that control breathing. By the time the slurred speech, drooping eyes, and paralysis set in, the damage is deep and the clock is nearly out. Coral snakes stay tucked under leaf litter, logs, and boards. exactly where a bare foot or reaching hand tends to land. Beautiful, secretive, and endlessly patient, it is a perfect little swamp assassin, and most people never see the one that gets them. Number 5. The Eastern Diamondback Rattlesnake, the largest venomous snake in North America and the one that makes even lifelong locals freeze in mid-step. A full-grown diamondback can stretch past 6 feet, thick as a man's forearm, and strike a third of its own body length in a fraction of a second. Its long fangs fold down and drive venom deep into muscle, causing instant screaming pain, massive swelling, internal bleeding, and tissue that can rot and die around the wound. It doesn't chase. It doesn't need to. It coils in the tall grass, the palmetto scrub, and the shade at the trail's edge, camouflaged so perfectly that hikers step right over it. Sometimes it buzzes that famous warning rattle. Sometimes it stays dead silent and lets you make the mistake. The Everglades' dry hammocks and levees are prime rattlesnake country, and a single careless footstep can end a peaceful hike with a race to the antivenom, if you're lucky enough to reach it in time. Number 4. The Florida Cottonmouth. Now we come back to the water's edge, the exact place the locals refuse to go. The cottonmouth, the water moccasin, is a thick, dark, heavy-bodied venomous snake that actually lives in and around the swamp water itself, unlike almost anything else on this list. And unlike most snakes, it does not always flee when it sees you. Threaten it or block its path, and it holds its ground, throwing its head back and gaping that mouth wide open to flash the startling white, cotton-colored lining as a last warning. Its venom is hemotoxic. It destroys flesh, ruptures blood cells, and turns a single bite into a slow, spreading, blackening wound. Cottonmouths swim boldly across the open surface with their heads held high, coil beneath docks and fallen logs, and sometimes drop from low branches into a passing boat. This is the snake that empties a fishing hole in seconds the instant someone spots it gliding straight toward the bank. Number 3. The American crocodile. Everyone knows Florida has alligators. Almost no one realizes it is also the only place on Earth where alligators and crocodiles live side by side. And the American crocodile is the more aggressive, more unpredictable, and more powerful of the two. It grows longer than most gators, up to 15 feet, with a narrower snout and a mouthful of teeth that stay visible even when its jaws are shut. It favors the salty, brackish water down toward the coast, the mangrove creeks, and the tidal flats. A crocodile can hang dead still as a floating log for an hour, then launch into an explosive lunge, and its bite force is among the strongest ever measured. It ambushes right at the shallow water's edge, the exact strip of shoreline where people drag boats in and cast their lines. Slower to tolerate humans and far quicker to attack, the croc is the reason experienced locals never, ever let their feet dangle off a dock down south. Number 2. The Burmese python. This is the nightmare that rewrote the entire ecosystem. The Burmese python was never meant to be here. Released in escaped pets that discovered the Everglades, made a perfect second home with no natural predators to stop them. Now they number in the tens of thousands, and they have grown into true monsters. These snakes reach 18, even 20 feet long, thicker than a telephone pole, and they've devoured so many native animals that populations of raccoons, opossums, rabbits, and deer have collapsed across huge stretches of the park. A python needs no venom at all. It ambushes, strikes, throws its coils around its prey, and constricts, tightening a little more every time the victim exhales, until the breathing simply stops for good. They have been found with whole alligators inside them, perfectly camouflaged in the grass, utterly silent, and strong enough to overpower almost anything that walks or swims. They lie hidden in the very water and brush you'd cross without thinking, and you would never, ever see one coming. Number 1. The American alligator. And here it is, the king of the swamp, the reason the water itself feels dangerous. The American alligator is the undisputed apex predator of the Everglades, and there are well over 1 million of them spread across these wetlands. A big bull gator pushes past 12 feet and packs one of the most powerful bites ever measured in the entire animal kingdom, enough to crush bone, punch through a boat hull, and shatter a turtle's shell like glass. It waits at the surface with only its eyes and nostrils breaking the water, looking exactly like a harmless floating log, until the instant it detonates forward with terrifying speed. On land, it can outrun a person over a short sprint. It clamps down, drags its prey under, and spins in that infamous death roll until the struggle is over. This is the creature the locals are talking about. This is why they will not go near the water. And now that you know what's really down there, 15 creatures, one swamp, and 100 reasons the people who live here stay out of the water. The Everglades doesn't care that you didn't know it was there. So the next time you see still, dark water and a warm, quiet afternoon out here, remember what's watching back from just beneath the surface. If this opened your eyes, hit subscribe, and we'll show you exactly what else is really out there.